Okay, we are going to review Wolfie's gameplay again. He's a Moira main in bronze and is fairly new to the game still, level 119. This is a game on Dorado, he's on team 2, that's gonna be the red team. So we're gonna try to point out a few things that he could have improved. It might not have helped him win the game, but it might have made a difference, or it's, you know, just to be better overall, like personal performance, because that's the only thing that you can actually improve. And not your team, other than communicating. Okay, this orb here right at the start I think was kind of unnecessary because it doesn't actually give anyone any value. It's just gonna be a cooldown that is gonna be somewhat wasted because nobody was low, so it's on a 10-second cooldown and it will just do nothing. So in situations like this where there's a Reaper at the back or anybody flanking, that's the time when you need it. Reaper in close range can actually one-shot you if he aims at your head at this short distance. Normally it takes like 1 to 3 shots for the average person, I guess, because you're missing a few of your pellets, but I mean, you could see that you were at 51 HP, so that's really low, so it's good that you shifted away, but you could have used your heal right now. Oh yeah, and there's another thing that can be noted is that if you damage enemies, you will self-heal, but it will not work on shields. Unfortunately, your tanks were feeding and they were already dying to the side. I don't know what exactly they were doing, so there's actually no point to go here anymore. Now you're on the flank as a support. You should not, like, normally you should not be even able to kill anything. If people are paying a little bit of attention and they have a little bit of a brain, then they would just counter you. The damage orb here was fine generally, but your hamster was dying. Thankfully your Reinhardt got 2 picks somehow. I would rather stay behind the payload exactly here than be able to get shot from different angles. This shift was unnecessary, he wasn't focusing you anymore and he was already leaving. Now you're even further away from your tank and he will die. Your Tracer should be more careful, I don't think he's blinking around a lot. This orb did nothing. You chose to use the healing orb and bounce it right off the payload. So it will, since you used it like in a straight line, it will just bounce back again, exactly like this, and you have no value out of it. So either when you need it, and then you won't have it, or if you would have used the damage orb, like slightly into a different direction, you could either use a damage orb towards those people, because there are 2, or you could shoot it towards this angle and then it will bounce off here and then get into this direction to the other team, just to get some value out of your damage orb. But the healing orb was unnecessary. And it just gives you a cooldown that you could have used if you needed it. It's probably not gonna make much of a difference right here, but you know, if you want to improve generally, then that's what you can work on. And your 2 supports just healing each other, where none of your DPS and none of your tanks are getting any value because they're not getting healed. So this whole positioning, in this case, all you can do probably to make the team play better is to tell them to stick together more, especially when you're Moira and you don't have any long range heal. So you want to be able to heal as many people as possible at once, fast, efficient, and then you can push as a team. And Brig also needs to be in melee range to hit something in order to deal damage and also activate her passive field. So he's like kind of useless here. I hear the Reaper, like he's somewhere to the right. Listening to sound effects and footsteps and so on can be of great help because it gives you a chance to predict things. This Reaper is, as I said, like short range character, so he wants to be close to people in order to deal the most damage. You can also see at the top that he has his ult. As I said in the previous video, you can roughly think about if you have your ult, then the enemy team probably has it as well. Some classes regenerate ultimate charges faster than others. Zarya, for example, has the slowest ult regeneration, and I'm pretty sure like healers and Tracer can get her pulse bomb rather quickly if she damages. Brig has, as I said, like no value out of Brig so far, because he can't hit anything. Your tanks are all over the place, so there's nothing to whack, there's no way to activate your passive healing, so he's just useless. He might as well just fucking switch off. Thankfully your Coalescence is kind of keeping you alive and you got some self-healing, plus you used cover, so that was good. Unfortunately you lost 3 people literally at the same time. This place is really awkward to fight, so wouldn't even be here. Your Reinhardt is constantly charging around. Moira is just not a good healer for that, but we're trying to look at your gameplay. If there's nothing you can do because of your team or how they play, and you don't want to play any other support, then you can only do the best out of your current character and the current situation. You already lost this fight. You already lost 3 people. Your Rein is gonna charge and probably die as well. You will probably die because you got walled off. So it really is time to just regroup. Okay, here I just realized when you got out of spawn, if you want to get out faster, in this situation the payload didn't go very far, so you don't really want to get there sooner until your team has regrouped. But generally, during your shift, just before it's over, you can jump and that it will bring you further forward. I will show that in another clip later. I'm gonna put that into the video as well. But yeah, if you jump at the end of your shift, just before it's over, then you will get further forward than you would if you wouldn't jump. So what I would do is actually push forward and use this payload as cover. And you will be in line of sight of your Reinhardt, so you can still heal him and be safe yourself by standing here. And it looks like they have been backing off a little bit, so that's good for you. You also got 2 picks already. That's the Ana gone and the Reaper gone. You traded with your Hamster, but Hamster should be coming back fast because he's like the fastest. When you see or hear that a Sigma is about to use his ult, it will always deal 50% damage to you. It doesn't matter which character, if it's a 600 HP target or a 200 HP target, he will always deal 50%. So to you, to Brig, that would deal 100 damage. To Roto, for example, with 600 HP, that would deal 300 damage. Even more if he's nano boosted, but in this case he wasn't, so that's gonna deal 50% damage. The only ones in it are, if you would trigger it right now, are Brig and Reaper. Reaper can shift out of it to negate the damage completely. Brig cannot. You can avoid it with your shift if you were hit. This specific situation is perfect if you would wait with your healing orb until he throws them up in the air, so I wouldn't use it yet, but as soon as they land on the ground, they will be half health, so that's when you need to heal them. But in this case, he didn't really deal more damage after that. Reaper used his shift, you can see at the top. Brig is the only one who's gonna take damage. Now that Sigma is out of the way and he's no threat anymore and he will not be killing anybody of your teammates right now, you need to get to your Rein real fast because he's holding up his shield, he's trying to survive, he is less than half health. Also remember that if you accidentally click your orb but you choose to not actually use it, you can also cancel it again. This orb I would have probably angled a little bit differently. It was good that you were focusing on her because she was standing still. It's an easy kill, it's a big pick if you would get the Ana. I would probably throw the orb at an angle, a little bit from the side, so it would bounce like off the wall and then off here. This orb looks like it's angled from below, so it's gonna go off the ceiling, but it will most likely like stay around this area here. And if Ana just walks out of it, and she will probably go this way, then she will be safe. She still has her nade to heal herself, and that will probably be enough for her to get away. Remember that your damage orb, if it only hits one target, it will deal 200 damage, so it kills 200 HP targets. Yeah, she used her nade and healed herself and then walked away, and your orb bounced right back out again because of the angle that you've used. Here it's dangerous if you press shift on a regular basis, so you always keep track of like what kind of enemies do they have, what is a threat to you personally as a Moira. Being close to Junkrat is always dangerous because you're a 200 HP target and 2 grenades or 1 grenade plus a mine will just one-shot you, and if he actually realizes that you're there, he turns around, he shoots you, then you're instantly dead. Rocket barrage incoming. Okay, that was kind of annoying timing for your Pharah to use her ult. Especially when he uses it like he has no clue what he's even using it on. Like he just stood here and I'm gonna ult. There's nobody on the street. This guy is just walking away. These guys, okay, now he switched over to the tanks. If Sigma was any good, he would use his shift to just soak all the projectiles, plus use his shield towards her, so he would kill himself. Because Farah takes damage from her own rockets, and if you put a shield like right in her face like this close up, he would kill himself. So Sigma should have done that sooner, he doesn't even pay attention. Plus Zarya also had her bubble ready. So what happens? He kills literally nothing. Barely dealt any damage at all. Like, look at their HP, they're pretty much full. Okay, your Reaper's using ult, so try to support him as much as possible. You already threw out a healing orb. I would always assist the ones on your team that use their ultimates, just to make sure they get it off properly. Okay, that is dangerous. You got really close to the enemy team again, and the Reaper is like right in your face. Thankfully you reacted somewhat fast. You're down to 24 HP, but you had your shift ready to get away. But everyone else is gonna die, because I'm pretty sure your Reaper had it on cooldown. And the Sigma killed your Rhine somewhere. I don't think it was a good idea to use your ult, because you are already 3 people down, so that's 1 person down, 2 down, 3 down. Your Brick also used Rally, that's no value at all. She is using it on herself, basically. You are not going to kill anything with that Coalescence, so it was basically a waste. You had your orb ready, so if you ever decide to use Coalescence, try to combine it with your orb, either the healing or the damage orb, because you just have more burst damage basically. So just shortly before you use your ultimate, use your orb and then use the ultimate. It lasts quite a few seconds, so by the time your Coalescence is over, your orb is going to be ready again. So Sigma is using his ult again. As I said before, it deals 50% damage. You can already see that your Brick is slightly low. So if he would take slightly more damage from anything, and if you see anybody critical in the air, by the time they land they will die, since it takes 50% and the critical icon only shows up if you are below 50%. So making sure that these stay alive. And you were spraying them, that's good. It's perfect. The entire Sigma ult was wasted because you just heal them up again, and it gives you quite a bit of ult charge again. You just use your Coalescence and you're back to 42%. So that's good. They wasted their ult.
Tell me how this feels.
Okay, you're hearing the wheel. By the looks of your movement, I think you realize from which direction it comes from. You still have your shift. As soon as you hear that it's getting close, either you have vision on it or you can tell by the volume. Okay, good. That was a good shift, I would say. I don't know exactly where it was. It went for the Brick. I think the Brick used her shield just when it exploded right here. So she saved herself, and you saved yourself by just going forward and not getting hit by it. So that was good. Okay, remember that you actually followed your Rhine, first of all. Like, he was in front of you. He's fighting 2 people here. So try to keep him alive. The damage orb was unnecessary because, well, you were zapping the Moira a little bit, but you backed off again. So you bounce it this way. From this angle, it's just gonna go towards your team, which means it does nothing. Now it would have been very useful to have it to throw it at your Rhine, because you don't want to be too close to their Zarya. You don't want to get purpled by the Ana. You don't want to get sleep darted. You just want to keep your Rhine alive because he's the one dealing damage to them and you're trying to win this fight. So if you had your orb, I would have thrown it into this room while damaging. And Zai is already looking at you, okay, but your Rhine is like about to die. And when he's dead, you will not be able to kill those 2. Okay, so you back off, but unfortunately there is this Junkrat still who just used his ultimate. Yeah, you will probably die, because you have nothing to defend yourself with.
30 seconds.
Okay, 8.8 seconds at this point. Your tanks have to touch fast. You have a hamster. He has the highest mobility in the game. He has to go there and touch as soon as possible. But so far as I could tell, he was just feeding and actually deranking. So you were basically fighting 5v6 all game anyway. Your Rhine is wasting time. He's holding up his shield. At this point, you are at 2.8 seconds. He has to go to the payload, or you're just gonna lose. I think the hamster is gonna be able to touch. Press fucking W. Yeah, shifting towards him because he needs it. Keep him alive, you have him in your line of sight, so go for it. Heal, 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 heal. I would probably choose to just stay behind the Rhine because it's dangerous to shift forward to save someone who might die anyway, or who might have a defensive. Like in this case he wraithed out, so he's immune right now. He's coming back already. But now you're in the open, and you're gonna take damage. At least he survived. He has his ult, so hopefully he's gonna survive. Okay. Coalescence as soon as possible because overtime. It's fine. Would keep the Reaper alive because he has ult. And he's in the middle of them. He got the Ana, so that's fine. There's probably a little bit of a better way to move with your Coalescence because the enemy is gonna spawn from here. Your spawn is really far away and you have to come from this side. If you turn your back towards this area, then basically Sigma is coming back, as you can see. He can shoot you in your back. He can throw a rock at your face and you can get one shot, so it's dangerous to just be here. Plus your run has taken damage again, so now you have to like walk all the way back to him, past the trap. If you have any awareness or like experience over time, you will notice this trap and then be behind him and then start healing him. Well, it's always situational obviously, but I try to always take a safer area that still has a lot of value in general. At least walk back or like avoid being so close again. Like this mine was easy for him to hit, he doesn't even need to aim. Okay, here you had your shift again. You could have gone behind your Rhine's shield, but somehow you made like a quick U-turn and you have 2 DPS on the enemy team. They could just turn around and kill you instantly. Thankfully your Reinhardt used his Shatter. Someone still has to stay on the payload though, so it's dangerous that he's about to C9. You have 34 HP. I would not use damage orb here, because you want to keep yourself alive. This is a critical time, this is overtime. You try to get it to the checkpoint to have another chance to push it further. So going forward to defense. This orb is fine. This orb is generally fine because that's usually the main entrance or the main exit that they take. So you will always get a little bit of ult charge. You should get about like 5% if you're fully depleted, more if it's a healing orb. Walking out of line of sight right after that is generally important. I think this recording was from the week where most of the hit scans were banned, so there's no Widow, they don't play a Hanzo, no hit scan that could like 2-tap you. So just staying safe is always important. Positioning is very important in this game. I wouldn't usually jump down, but at this rank everyone is holding so far forward, so it's fine. Zapping a Genji is always good for you because he can't deflect your damage. You're Sigma's AFK. Oh, it's the hamster again. Okay, yeah, he was the one throwing. I can hear the Pharah rockets, so try to be aware of that because didn't have a Mercy on him, but if he had one, then he would two-shot you. And you don't have any counters except the Bastion to deal with him. Sigma low, super low, keep him alive. Luckily he survived here, but I think you're gonna die to the Pharah, because yeah, he's shooting right into the choke. He was chasing the Bastion and then couldn't find him anymore. But let's see, you don't have shift, you don't have orb. Probably the safest area would be around here, around the corner. And then try to peek to heal, but well, in this case you will not be able to avoid this further. Damage orb didn't do much, could have bounced it differently to get more value as well. Okay, staying behind your Rhine is fine, but Try to keep an eye on the Pharah because I can hear him to the right. Since the only one who can deal with him is Bastion. And even if you don't go for him, it's always good to be aware of where he is to be able to avoid damage. Okay, your Rhine is about to die. At least they're pushing forward again. Your Bastion is using his ult. Probably a good idea to use your Coalescence here. And you did, perfect. This is the good kind of value out of Coalescence that I was talking about in the last video. You heal your team and you damage the enemy, so you can't get more value out than this. You already used your damage orb, so you can combine it like that, but it's super fine. Like, the timing was good. Just don't need to get so close, because as I said, your Coalescence range is kind of big. Okay, healing the Bastion, all good. Now Pharah's flanking from behind, just stay away from it. You won't be able to kill her faster than she will kill something else. Your Mercy cannot be saved. A general thing, probably not you, but if someone is able to, especially when, you know, like, they didn't get the payload very far. Their spawn is right here, okay? So it doesn't take very long for them to come back. But your Mercy just died and she can fly to you. So someone should be trying to pick her up and go back here, because she's just coming out here. So if someone stays here, she can just shift to that person and fly better. Oh, fly better, but fly faster and get back to the team sooner, because we need her. Like, you need to be 6 people. It's necessary. This fucking Reinhardt. Okay, it's great that he's shielding the Bastion, but he literally has his ass in front of him. He can't fucking see anything, so if you want to shield the Bastion, just put the shield in front of him, not your ass. Can't see anything. This can be dangerous if you are the front line, like your Reinhardt is holding further back. If they had Hitscan, if they had a Widow, if they had a Hanzo, and you're peeking around the corner, you might just die, and you are a very important healer to keep alive. So you would not want to peek. Plus their Moira Orb is almost killing you. As I said before, 1 damage orb on 1 single target is gonna kill you, because it deals exactly 200 damage. You're like 37 HP, that is not a whole lot. Just a little splash, right-click splash of a Zarya would kill you, or anything else really will kill you. And then you go forward, that's dangerous. This Zarya just used a right-click, if it went on you, you would have died. You are the front line again, and Mercy is in a bad position, because nobody can help her if they ever push to the right side. So she should have backed off into this direction. And Reinhardt is the one dealing with the Genji when he should be dealing with the front line, but okay. But then right here, you turn around and you see your Bastion being critical, and you see the enemy Genji being on him. So start healing him. You might not be able to heal him up anyway or keep him alive, but at least try, because you haven't healed in quite a while now. And your Reinhardt just charged in the same frame, you could see that. So he will be taking damage from the front, so try to keep him alive. Instead you were trying to chase the Genji that is gone already. Mercy did a big dum-dum trying to rest in the middle of the street with a Junkrat in her face and a nano boosted Orisa at the front. You can try to heal him because you're already committed, but he's probably gonna die anyway. Like, look at your healing bar, you have barely depleted it at all. I mean, it disappeared, it's hidden, because you haven't healed this whole time. You're still not a damage dealer, so keep that in mind. Keep your Bastion alive as long as you can. You can see that the Junkrat is focusing him. And he is the highest damage, he will deal more damage than you ever can. So if you keep him alive, then he can deal the damage for you. This area is also very dangerous to be in, if you don't have any frontline, and if Ryan is not deciding to push, you always try to push or touch the payload before they get the checkpoint. Your Reinhardt didn't look like he was gonna contest, so this is lost. Standing right here in this area, it's like a small hallway, and you remember they have a Junkrat. He can bounce off his grenades towards this wall, and then it would bounce to you, and you are already half health. And it would be a 65, so it's even more unlikely for you to win. Especially now, you see him get away here, you didn't even have your shift ready yet. And you use the damage orb again that, well, it could have healed you instead. You were already half health. Surviving is often more important than trying to deal unnecessary damage. So even if you got some damage off of the Junkrat, like 50 damage or what, like you tickled him a little bit, it's not gonna matter. One thing that you can also keep in mind is that the payload actually heals, just like a Lucio passive healing. It heals everyone around it, but that only works on attack. So it's like wasted damage for a high risk. You could have died here for... How much damage have you dealt? Okay, 165 HP, so that's really not... like, he doesn't even give a shit about that. Yeah, this Junkrat is going straight for you. You should be shifting back towards this side, because this is safe. There's nobody flanking. But you decide to shift forward, right into the Orisa, right into the Genji, right into the Moira, and right into the Zarya that is also right-clicking from a distance. You are really low HP. You have nothing. You have no orb, you have no shift. This is super dangerous. That you even survived this long is a miracle. And then you healed yourself, and then you run across the street. This is the open area for them to fight. They were just capping the payload this direction. Running from this side slowly over to the other side. There, you can see how much time there is for them to damage you. And you don't want that to happen. So now the enemy Moira is even using her coalescence on you. Genji doesn't look like he's actually going for you, but he might. And then she was chasing you down. We had no more escape. So that's unfortunate. And your Rhine is like literally AFK to the right. I think you're gonna get rest. Now, careful again, like there was a reason why you died. So don't be too far forward. And then they have 3 minutes left. That's a lot of time, so you have to basically win every single team fight here in order to win the game. Coalescence here is fine, I think, if your tank would push further forward. Like, he was very passive, your Bastion is backing off, your Mercy is just standing there AFK like a fucking Mercy main. Your Reinhardt's holding up his shield, but maybe this is encouraging enough for him to actually push forward. And then he charges in, alright, that's fine. Here you get a lot of value out of your coalescence because you're hitting a lot of enemies and you're healing. This orb, that's not where they come from anymore. That's the old spawn, that's where they push the payload, but the new spawn is gonna be here. So you need to throw your orb to the right side instead of the left. So yeah, this one is not gonna do anything. If they come through the choke here, I mean, you already know where they come from. So standing here is very, like, close range and dangerous for you. So I would not stand here at all. Dangerous. Dangerous. You need your shift to survive. Okay. This shift was fine against the Blade. Every time he gets a kill, his dash will reset. And that is the only mobility he has. So if you take that away from him, he doesn't get any kill and he doesn't get a dash reset. That's how his Blade will fail. Again, you're in front of your Rhine, you're pushing forward when you don't need to. Here's one entrance, here's one entrance, here's one entrance, and there's one entrance. Unless they have something that can fly like Pharah, then they can go over the roof as well. But all these entrances are, like, you can sum them up. It's like the same direction you come from, and then they will push towards the side. So your safe area would be here and further back. So standing anywhere in this area is just dangerous for you.
Surrender to my will.
Still don't need to be so close to the junk. It makes it a lot easier for you to aim at him if you're further away, rather than having him close to your face and then needing to adjust with your aim accordingly. Oh, careful here. Remember that Junkrat has mines. When he dies, he drops mines and it will one-shot you if you're in the middle of it. Oh, you almost died here as well. But thankfully you survived because you didn't stand exactly in the middle. One thing that is important in general, but I think that comes over time with the experience, that you need to manage your ults. Like, you don't want to waste all your 5 ults if you have 5 ults at the same time. You try to save something so you can win the next fight, because you still have to win probably 2 more fights, because they have 1 more minute left.
60 seconds.
You can see that the Mercy is healing you. This will always appear if a Mercy is healing you, and you can see she literally just said, "I'm under attack," and you can see her health bar is less than half, and you could hear her take some damage too, so make sure to spray her a little bit just to keep her alive. She does have a passive healing ability, but it only kicks in after like 2 seconds.
Tell me how this feels.
And then your Mercy stepped into a trap and died. So you're 1 healer down, you're 1 person down, they have closer spawn, they have the advantage to win now. And this is where you lose the fight. So I would completely back off because you need to regroup. And if you stagger, if you die a couple seconds later, you have even less time to recontest.
Touch from afar.
Sure, throwing damage orbs is fine because you try to get your ult. You can see the wheel, so that's good. You still have your shift. If it comes too close, shift away to avoid it. Now though, like your Bastion is sitting in this room. Get to him. Not to this side, because going this way would just leave you exposed to get attacked by them. But that is again map knowledge. You have to go this way and try to keep your Bastion alive, because he's the one person that deals the most damage and is most likely to kill everybody. Ooh, that is scary again, like you're going forward by yourself when there's an entire team and your Bastion died. I think your Mercy is gonna be able to res, because there's a Reinhardt shielding and Mercy can res from a little distance. But you standing here is not a good position. You were probably thinking that you needed to contest. Now your highest priority, like this is literally the final fight. This is 4.3 seconds left before overtime hits. If you wipe them right here, you will win. So this is 100% winnable still. You're close to your ult as well. You're like super low. This Symmetra has level 3 beam. That deals a lot of damage, so never stand so close to them. Splash damage can kill you, and that would be unfortunate to lose you right now. Mercy doesn't have any res. Stay behind your Rhine, because at least right now he's contesting, he's not C9ing. Never mind, he's charging in. But your Mercy is using Valk. That's huge, because it will heal everybody. That Sim barrier is actually huge as well on the enemy team, because it has 5000 shield. Your Bastion sitting here is not gonna deal any damage at all. Looks like he decided to go on the flank then, so he's gonna have a better position past the shield and may be able to kill them all. Your Rhine swinging around, the Orisa is really low, so I would focus her, if I was a Rhine at least. He didn't need to shield here at all, he could have just gone aggressive. The Reaper has to be kept alive because, first of all, you need every person that you can have, while staying safe yourself. So I wouldn't like go on suicide to keep him alive, but if you are enraged, if you can, try to heal him. And then, unfortunately, like, Zarya hasn't used her graph in forever. Saved it all the way until now. This entire round he hasn't used it at all. Reaper was just gonna retreat, so after his immunity is gone, he's gonna be in the graph. Your Rhine is in the graph. The Mercy is gonna get sucked in. And you also move forward at the same time. So that was a huge graph when it was meant for one person. It was meant for the Rhine. And 3 people unfortunately happened to move right into it. You had your shift at least, but that's downtime and you cannot heal anyone. Ryan could have put up his shield to avoid some damage on his team, but he didn't. Instead he was swinging at the Orisa, but at the same time you're losing 2 people, and this is when you get your Coalescence. Probably could have gotten it sooner if you healed a little bit more in the previous fights. Your Bastion is using his ult now. The barrier is still up, but should be appearing now, exactly. And this is still looking good for you. You have an ulting Bastion in the back, you have your Coalescence, you can heal them at the same time. But yeah, you can see your hamster, like, if he's sitting in ball form, he does nothing, absolutely nothing. He was just feeding. Zarya was low, he should have died. Again, I wouldn't, like, move so far forward and so close. You were trying to heal the hamster, but he's not doing anything. If you move this way to the street, there's a break. He just came back from spawn. If you would shield bash you, your Coalescence would be interrupted, and then you lose it. So I would stay on the safer side, on your side where you were before. You probably want to always use natural cover, like you don't have a shield anymore, so try to use this wall instead to try and be safe. Jumping around here in the open is gonna leave you exposed for more projectiles. Your tanks already died there, so you know, nobody contested anymore. The final fight was winnable, but not well executed. But as I said, your hamster was just feeding, so you were mostly 5v6. Positioning, stay safe is the most important in this video. You often shift when, like, not only is it unnecessary, but also you shift into more dangerous situations, like from one dangerous situation that you could have avoided by positioning yourself better into another dangerous situation by shifting into another location. Your coalescences were good though, you got a lot of value out of it, and unfortunately your Reinhardt is a very chargy boy, so can't really keep him alive other than saving your healing orb and throwing it towards him, so you don't have to go like deep into the enemy team yourself. The first point was very chaotic, the second point was better, this one was absolutely winnable. What needs to be taken care of is like technically ult economy. You don't want to waste your ults if you need to win so many fights, but at this rank it's a little inconsistent, so I wouldn't think of that yet. Still work on the shifts, use natural cover, know where in which map people are coming from and where you can stand to be safe. Pay attention to what the enemy team has. In this case, hit scans were banned, so you were mostly safe, but if you can get shot from a location because you're standing in the open, that's a high risk for you to lose for no reason. Losing a team fight due to them using ults is fine, because oftentimes you can't really do anything about it. But if you just die without anyone using ults, then that's basically on you. Coalescence was good, you got a lot of value out of it, except that you always tend to go closer when it's not necessary. So you just have to know, like, you are not a tank and you are not a DPS. You are a support, supposed to keep your tanks alive, keep your DPS alive so they can do what you want to do.